Brickhouse Productions Premiere. Panoramic lifestyle. A vision moves in all directions.
Yeah. Perez in my city like Vegas. Like Vegas. I need 1 million people screaming my name. Really, I'm not with the bull, I'm stubborn, baby. Maybe I will or maybe I won't, and that's a whole lot of maybes. Got a whole lot of babies. They need some brand new Mercedes. Can't wait till we take flight. No more asking for favors.
All right.
I get a plug on the west side.
We're back, episode 2. Calling Audibles. Koffe Black. Jack Brickhouse. What's going on, brother?
How are you, brother? How are you?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I know why. I know why.
Why am I exhausted?
You are exhausted because you don't listen. You don't listen. And the people will find that out. As you tell them why you are exhausted, they'll find it. Go ahead and tell them why you're exhausted.
I'm exhausted, man. Dude, I'm so exhausted. I'm exhausted because one, I'm 37. That is, and when you're young, and I'm still young, like in certain, I guess, fields of life, 37 is relatively young. 37 to be on Earth is young, right? Like it's young. Physically, though, I'm not young. I am old. Like physically, I have beat the living shit out of my body since I was like 16. Actually, younger than that. But I was just, your body just, bounces back. Like your body, when you're young, you're so resilient. But dude, at 37, that surgery really killed me. And then I had to change up the diet. I had to change up the lifestyle. No more smoking, no more drinking because of the medication. Eating super clean, which you've been doing. And I used to always make fun of you, especially on our previous show. I used to make fun of you about your diet and how you eat super clean. Like, for the most part, like from what
for the most
you
part,
were,
right. From being a standard Negro, Negro, as we used to say.
Like super clean,
compared to that shit. Yeah, no doubt.
Like detoxifying your body and getting on a clean path and all of that to try to help my body heal.
Yeah.
Anytime in your life you make a transition similar to what we talked about, piggybacking off of last episode, no good deed goes unpunished. There's a punishment for it. Like if you're going to make a transition in your life, you're going to pay. There's going to be, it could be a short period or a long period where you're going to pay a particular price. And everything kind of like came in on me at one time, in which I just didn't foresee. Mike, we talk about Mike Tyson all the time. I make this reference all the time. And maybe at least, I don't know, 10, 12 times a year. I think just about everybody does. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. That famous quote by Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
My plan was, I wasn't a big guy. Some people would say I was a big guy, but I wasn't a big guy. I was 230 pounds, like 232. And I was like, man, I got to shed some weight before this surgery. I think 232 is the biggest I've ever been in my life, too. And this was like, and that was due to a little bit of COVID weight. Like the 232 was the biggest I've ever been in my life. And I was like, man, I got to shed this weight. And so I got down to like right around like, I haven't weighed myself. I'll go to the doctor in another week. I've got to be somewhere around like 210, 208-ish. If I did one of those hydrogen, sweat outs, like if I was a boxer and shit trying to make weight, I'm
Yeah.
probably right there around like 208,
Mm-hmm.
like legit, like flat out. And then, you rehydrate. If I rehydrate, I'll probably get back up to like maybe like 218-ish, perhaps floating around. Dude, when you shock your body physically, like have your body cut open into and having people rummage around and do things to, it's a nightmare on your body. Like the scar, you're gonna scar up, and that scar is gonna heal a lot quicker than the inside of your body. And what it takes for your body to heal is, goddamn. I just didn't have a clue. I don't even know. Like, I guess I could have researched it. I could have researched it better. Like what to expect. Like I could have found the what to expect when you're expecting back surgery books. Like
Yeah, dude. I remember we had a conversation. I mean, it was like a week out, and me and you jumped on the call, and I'm telling you, I'm like, dude, you're gonna be like fucking dependent, like laid up, and I never even thought about that. I'm like, what
I
the fuck?
never thought
What do
about
you
that.
mean you never thought about that? Like,
it never dawned on me. I knew I wasn't gonna just, bounce back, but it never dawned on me the it's like Denzel's The Little Things movie. It's like the little things I just did not foresee. Doing laundry, right? Like doing laundry. Doing laundry sucks any fucking way. Doing laundry after a major surgery, yeah, you're not doing that shit. You can't do that shit. You gotta rely on somebody to do this. Driving is exhausting. And the majority of people live in their cars. Quite honestly, if you go like hourly, the majority is a lot of people that live in their cars. I mean, fuck, if you see their car, you can tell they live in their car, even though they may have an actual home with shoes and shirts and this and that and bills. Like, dude, you got a whole mortgage payment in your car. Like, go file that away. Like, what is it doing in your car? Yeah, you haven't been in somebody. You go in an average person, like average American person's car. Like, majority of people now, if you have a family, you have multiple cars. I think even single people, like, they may have like one or two cars, right? Like, you got like a work car and a weekend car if you're doing okay. But that main car is filled with life. Like, you can look at a car and just know about a person. Like, their whole being. All you have to do is just go take a peek inside their car. It'll tell you everything about it. Absolutely everything. You think a chick is hot? You think she's sexy? You think she's got it all together because she walked in the club or the restaurant or that local bar or down aisle 6 in Trader Joe's, and you think she's so attractive, and then you stop and talk to her and you find out that oh my god, her energy's incredible, and you get her number and you do this, that, and the other. Go look inside that fucking car. I'll tell you everything you need to know. The car, man, dude. And we kind of got away from it because that's what I do sometimes. We got away from what I was
listen,
originally.
it's all right. It's all right.
You want to know why? Because I'm tired. I'm fucking tired. I'm so exhausted. I'm so exhausted, man. Dude, I was thinking last week though, right? And it's again, I haven't been able to do stand up, and it's only been like 50 days. It's been like 50 days since I've been on stage.
Since the last time you rocked?
Last time I've been on stage, it's probably been like 50 days now.
How did the last show end off?
I opened up. I just a buddy of mine that runs a club, manages a club, hit me up. He knew I was having surgery, and he's like, "Yo, man, come open up the show. Yo, come out, come open up the show one last fucking time before you have surgery." So went and did it. It worked out. It worked out. I had fun. It was one of those nights where, you know, it was almost it was like the inverse to like a wedding, like a bachelor party. You know, like the bachelor party and the bachelorette party is supposed to be like the bride and groom to be's like last hurrah, final bang before the big day and the rest of their lives.
Right.
It was similar to that, except I wasn't doing anything jovial like getting married, which is supposed to be jovial. I think some people think getting married is jovial.
Depends on the circumstances.
It depends on the circumstances, man. I see a lot of guys doing that crying shit now, and I think it's fake. I think that crying shit, I got sent the video today. This guy's looking at his bride coming down, man, and he's just like in awe of her. I'm like, dude, you fucking saw her on Wednesday. Come on, man. It's a white dress, dude. You guys were just at a white party, like on Labor Day. She was hot then, bro. I mean, she's beautiful and elegant, and it's amazing. And I don't know, I can't get in my head. I get why the female cries. I don't get why the guy cries. I'm not there yet. I'm cool with standing up there, but that emotional thing to make them cry tears of joy because they're marrying her on that day, dude, you've got her for the rest of your life. And you've already had her for what, at least 2 years, at least a year, at least 6 months. I mean, unless you're one of those crazy fucks that gets married like in 3 months of meeting somebody, like 90 Day Fiance, that dumbass show, or whatever the hell that shit is called. But other than that, like traditionally, like, why are you crying, bro? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Tell this motherfucker you paid $300 to get this shit fuck over with. Let's do this. Let's get to it. It's not. I think I would cry from anxiety. If I'm being honest, like, what the fuck are you doing? As opposed to being jovial. You know how many weddings I've been to? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I didn't realize that wasn't a thing either. I just now really learning that was my life. Like, my life, I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of weddings in everybody's life. They're just not a bunch of people like every year just like knocking out a shit ton of weddings. And like, not like going because to be nosy, like, no, I had to be at these weddings. It's over 30.
Oh yeah, easily. Dude, so have you been to more weddings or funerals? Because I know you've been to a lot of funerals.
Oh no. I think I've easily been to, I don't know. Man. From my youth to now, I don't know, man.
Whatever number you say, I already know is about to be wild.
It's got to be somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere between 150. I don't want to undersell, but I don't want to over. It's got to be around between 115 to 150. Like, which is like a weird, like 45 person jumping death. Like,
damn.
That is a weird like sequence of of jumps, but I like it's got to be between 1 and 150. Easy. Easy. I know easily it's 100. I think I had been to 100 funerals maybe by the age of 22, which is
And
a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing to experience. It's a weird thing for you to, for somebody to be like, oh, why the fuck are you at 100? Like, how does one go to 100 funerals like at early in life? Well, my dad's a pastor, so being a preacher and having his own church, like parishioners from church to um, family friends, and just he's very influential, as you know, in the community and kind of nationally. So it's like you got all these things that you kind of gotta do as a kid, which I don't like because we were with them all the time. Like, and so like the support system was then. Like, you got to remember, like back in the early '90s, like daycare wasn't, and in the '80s, daycare wasn't a thing. Like it is now. Like daycares weren't a thing back then, like there are now. So yeah, like I've been to, and then just friends and people I know. Like, just fuck.
so
Yeah,
so
way
just kind
more.
of
Yeah.
just tying that back. So before we got off track, you were just talking about the hindrances you have post surgery, right?
Oh, dude, the hindrances. Yeah, like so it's been
Right,
like 50 some odd days. And,
50 days, and you have a little one. As we
yeah, I
talk
got a
about
little
daycare,
one. I got a
right?
little one. I got a little one, man. Her birthday's coming up soon too. Her birthday's June, in June, dude. June. I fucking Christ, she'll be 2. So I got that, and then I've got the day to day with a like soon to be 17-year-old in a month and a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm fucking exhausted. Exhausted. I'm also, you know why? You know, I'm also exhausted because, again, piggying back off of the last show, I'm carrying other people's burdens.
Still carrying burden. You've learned nothing in the past 7 days.
I've had back surgery and I've still carried people's burdens. I've learned nothing in 7 days from doing the show that we've done.
Absolutely nothing. Are you supposed to be driving? As you were talking about, driving was a pain in the ass.
Driving is a pain in the ass after you have back surgery. Not immediately. Like I wasn't immediately driving.
Well, hold on, bro.
Maybe.
No, you can't say I wasn't. You're only like 4 weeks out when you're driving, so you can't say not immediately. Like when is immediately kicking? It's like 4 weeks.
Like I didn't drive. I didn't drive myself home from the hospital. Like,
why not? You may as well.
But you know what though? You know what? That's funny to me is they're like, hey, and you can't drive, but you need somebody to take you to like doctor's appointments or to get your prescriptions and do this, that, and other, and yada 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 yada, whatever, right? If you have to ride on the passenger side of the car, the only thing you're not doing is pressing the fucking pedal and turning a goddamn wheel. Like the controlling of the car. You're there along for the ride. You're just not controlling the car. You're not burning that many calories physically driving a car, right? Like you're not the physical toll on your body driving the car as compared to the passenger sitting there is relatively around the same. Wouldn't you say?
I would say, yeah.
Like when you stop hard, the same force you feel from hitting the brake hard, the passenger feels.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You're in the same frame, so you're in the same. I've experienced whatever you're experiencing, right? So like to say I cannot drive myself unless I could not move my fucking foot, I physically could drive myself. Like, and you know me, I have a high threshold for pain, and I try to push the envelope. all the time. I would have attempted to drive myself home from the hospital the day I got out of that hospital. That was it, the third day. Yeah, that day I got out in 3 days. Yeah, I would have absolutely tried. I would have tried.
And
I would have called you and told you I did it.
I'm pretty sure the last thing they told you was not to fucking drive and not to get out and be active before you walked out of the hospital.
You got to take it easy. It's exactly what they said.
And what did you do?
And 2 days in, the water heater leaked everywhere in the basement, and I was down there with my son and one of my sisters and my mom trying to deal with that whole issue. And I actually had my brother pick me up. Marvin picked me up, and we went to a local hardware store and bought a water heater. And I was in there with my walker and back brace on. I was out there like a coach that gets injured on the sideline but shows up next week to coach. And it's like, dude, why aren't you in the press box resting? Or that's why you have an assistant coach, so you can go sit your ass down. But they don't go sit their ass down because they feel like they're going to miss something.
Right.
Yeah. I have absolutely not really rested in the manner in which I'm pretty sure. Like, if somebody showed them footage of me, they'd be like, what the fuck is this guy been doing for 50 fucking days?
They did like a like an undercover boss surgery type thing where they follow your ass after surgery.
Yeah, like they follow somebody after surgery, like undercover them, like to see if they're doing the right, if they're following the procedures in which manner which. I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Spinal bone fusion, L5S1. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
So, what was that, like a couple weeks ago?
And in pain every step of the way.
Couple weeks ago, remember you and I were having a conversation. We were talking about the comedy special, and then, we were talking about something may need to happen in traveling, and you were talking about hopping on a flight. Or you like, I'm gonna hop on the flight and meet you there, and you and I had this back and forth. I'm like, dude, you can't hop on the flight and go nowhere. And then you went and talked to your doctor.
Yeah.
Talk about that conversation. Talk about that conversation you and the doctor had.
Oh, me and the doctor had. If you guys are wondering what was that going on, I am doing this podcast in my car. I told y'all this shit is organic as fuck. No, I went. I went and talked to the doctor. I said, hey doc, listen, man. We've been going through this process for like 6 months, like trying to get this thing done or whatever. Which you shouldn't. Right. It shouldn't take that long when you have great insurance, but it's a process you got to go through to have major surgery. And I was like, dude, I may need to hop on a flight. Like, yo, what's the time elapsed of me being on the plane? And he was kind of like, what are you talking about? Where are you going? What do you think? He was so dumbfounded and confused as to what I had said to him that I didn't even catch the fact that I had said some dumbass shit. And saying and asking what, like, you gotta be like, there's no dumb questions. That was clearly a dumb fucking question to ask.
And this was 2 weeks in. 2 weeks
this
in.
Is 2 weeks in. No, this is 2 weeks in. Right. Yeah, no, this is 2 weeks, 14 days. I think almost to the day of the actual surgery, not getting out the hospital, but of the actual surgery. I was like, I'm meeting you at that location. Like, I'm going to do it. I think I can do it. I think I can stomach it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself through more pain to try to come handle some shit. He was done with me, to say the least. He was done. I mean, and he knows I'm a comic. So he's like, he feels freer, right? Like, we've established kind of a relationship. So he feels freer, like, to not be as formal. And when he called me a fucking asshole, to be honest, I laughed and he laughed, and I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right." He's like, "You're a fucking ass. Like, you got to be the biggest fucking asshole ever. And you got to be. There's no other explanation. There's no other explanation. But you are 14 days out from having spinal fusion back surgery, and you're trying to hop on a goddamn flight. You did he? And then he used like influential black people that I feel like white people just call out. Like, you know, like white people, like they be like, oh, like to sing cool and hip, they'll just call some bullshit out like, oh, I love Snoop. Not that Snoop is not influential and cool, and he absolutely has earned the title of cool, but like it's just certain black people that be like white people go to and shit. He's of like
he
hard
one
work.
of them.
You know what I'm saying? And Diddy is one of them. Like Diddy's a hard worker. Like Diddy's a hard worker. Snoop, again, hard worker. Jay-Z, again, hard worker. Like those are crazy stories you hear, like about batshit crazy motherfuckers. Like, God damn, this dude was a fucking insane animal to hop on a flight. Like it'd have been dope. Like later on, like when the fame came and the rest of the money, but in real life, no, nigga, you're a fucking asshole, and that shit is stupid. My body is in shambles. Again, I'm getting healthy, but I've got to go through that transition period. And again, no good deed goes unpunished, man. And I'm getting punished like on all phase, on every aspect. I'm getting punished. And then I had a thought, like it got dark last week, right? Like the mental health got dark too.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's a shock. It's a shock to you. When you're somebody that's on the go constantly and your mind is constantly running, and then you get hit with idle time and you got to retire, like you got to step back and retire. Sometimes you can get forced to retirement. Sometimes you know you just it's time to hang it up. It's like, all right, I'm done. Like, yeah, I'm done. And you're not forced. You're not forced out. I'm done. I just want to sit down now. I'm done. I've done it. I've lived. A lot of people always go, I'm going to enjoy the other side of life. But then I started thinking, like, what happens if you have to retire from your dream? Like, I'm living my dream, what I wanted to do for years. As you know, we've known each other for years. We were in our youth.
Yeah.
And it was something talked about 10 years before it actually became real. And then you're doing it, and you're doing it well. It's not like, oh, you're kind of doing, like, no, like, oh shit, like, fuck, I should have followed my dreams years ago.
Right.
The dream, the career is different than the job. You can always quit a job and just find another job. It's hard to quit the dream, not a dream, but the dream. When you're living your dream, it's hard to just be like, oh, I'm not doing this dream anymore randomly. Well, what if you get forced out of your fucking dream and you can't do it anymore? Then what do you do? See, if I would say that to you, if I would say that to you, you'd be like, dude, you just go find another fucking drink. Like, you're not even going to sugarcoat it for me because you're that guy.
Oh, yeah. You already know.
Right. You're that guy. You're that guy. You're going to like, you're not sugarcoating. Just find another fucking dream. What was secondary dream?
Right.
Sometimes there is no secondary dream.
That's true.
Like,
I agree 100%.
This is what was in my head all my life, at whatever age you're at. and I'm doing it and been doing it. And now, for whatever reason, you can no longer do that thing that to a lot of people, not all, but to a lot of people, ends up, they, in their mind, defines who they are. You can't say my name. You don't associate me these two things have become synonymous. This dream and myself have become synonymous, in which they're connected together forever. Michael Jordan and basketball are connected forever. Basketball was around way before Jordan was. But now those two have joined to the hip because he got to live his dream, and he did it at the acme point of doing anything in life. And then he still gets to be around the game. He's an owner, right? Like, he'll still get out there in his shorts and do, camps and maybe hoop with some guys in like these like Hollywoodish super, fucking basketball leagues or whatever. I don't know what the fuck Jordan does on his day to day. But when you can't do that shit no more, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, that's sad.
Days
That was rough.
later, days fucking later, after me thinking about that, LaMarcus Aldridge is forced to retire. And you know he's forced to retire because it literally came out of nowhere. And for our viewers and listeners, this is Calling Audibles. You guys know the name of the show. Calling and Audible is a sports reference. I think that's the most popularity, right? Like, I mean, it's come. Yeah. I think that's where it originated from.
Yeah, that's where I know it from. I know that's where you and I know it from.
Yeah, that's where I know it from in my life. But yeah, we kind of use sports references to, a lot when we speak and talk about life. And sometimes, we're big sports fans. So, it comes up. But a lot of times life and sports kind of fuse together. And it's just not the game. You get real life with it. Sports has become part of our culture and lives, whether you are a fan or not. But LaMarcus Aldridge is a relatively well-known NBA basketball player, played 15 years in the league. Actually drafted by the Chicago Bulls. Bet you didn't remember that, did you?
I did not remember that.
Yeah. The Bulls had Aldridge. But nevertheless, he has a heart condition. I later found out that day, as all this everybody was doing a pontificating on his career and the condition that he had experienced. He had always had that problem. It just hit its worst point that week, where he wasn't thinking about retiring. He wasn't thinking about retiring. Matter of fact, he had just got released from the Spurs, and he was going over
Brooklyn.
To Brooklyn.
Yeah,
he was going over to Brooklyn, which undoubtedly, again, barring injury, they're winning a ring. It's too much. It's beyond what LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh did, who is probably more famous than LaMarcus Aldridge, who also was forced to retire. It was a longer process because Chris had the blood clots and he was trying to get his own doctors, and Chris was trying to beat science. Right? Like, Chris was out there trying to find, I'm pretty sure if Chris Bosh could have paid a doctor to just say, hey, it's safe, he can play, if they would have allowed him to, he would have did it. He would have fucking did it. Yeah. Like, that process was a little bit longer, but also still very shocking to know that you got to hang it up.
Yeah.
when you got
And,
so much left.
and you're on the number one team. Like this is
Yeah,
it. That like this is the point that you worked and all the youth camps and the AAU and all of that shit.
you're already at the
You
peak. You've already won.
won.
You've been in the at the. You're playing at the highest form of your craft with amongst the best in the world within the same craft, and you're a star. At one point, I would say LaMarcus Aldridge was right around superstar talent. He definitely had superstar talent.
Well, yeah, he was like
I would
one.
say maybe like 2 or 3 years, he was like at least a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, I think he was just
Maybe top 10. Maybe I'm stretching, maybe top 10.
he was an endorsement away from having like what Chris Paul did with the Cliff Fall. Like he just needed
Oh,
that big
yeah.
sponsorship
The
to
ship
blast
that,
his
that he
face out
never
there.
had.
He
That
never
he
got that.
never had. He never got that.
So that's the difference. The court is a portion of it, but the business shit is what turns people into superstars. Right? With Jordan, with Nike, they made him the superstar.
And
With
Gatorade,
Kobe and
you're
all
right.
Gatorade, right? That makes you the so when you're Chris Paul and Chris Paul been doing this State Farm shit now for what, like 8 years, 10 years? It's been a long
Man, that's
time.
a long time.
Cliff Paul left,
And
came back, left again, came back, and
yeah.
so now he's branded. He's now he's accepted everywhere. He can go walk.
Mhm.
If something comes out, he can go on fucking Good Morning America, or he can go on the kids show and show up, and he can do all of that because he
And
was
people know people will associate him with being Cliff Paul and not being
right.
an NBA player.
That's right. So either way, right? Either you know him from sports or you know him as Cliff Paul. So, again, a LaMarcus Aldridge, he was there. Game wise, he was there. It
Oh,
was just
game wise, he had it all.
you just gotta, somebody has to see you as marketable and valuable and as an asset to sign you on to come do that shit. But that's,
And yeah, and sometimes the game is enough for some people. They don't want
yeah,
all the extra frills and all that other shit to deal with. And it's based on your personality, who you are as an individual, which is fine.
yeah.
But um, like, I mean, similar to me. I mean, you have to get on my ass all the time because I tell you all the time, dude, I don't want any of that other. I don't want to have to come to those meetings and deal with this shit. I just want the stage and the mic. And you're like, no, fucker. You're
Dude,
you, you drag me along.
you got to be a part of it. You got to learn.
You gotta learn. You gotta learn. It's multifaceted, right? It's a lot of sides, and you gotta understand. It's so much more. You're gonna what's the saying? You're gonna get everything you want. Do you want everything that you're gonna get? You're gonna get everything you want, but do you want everything that you're gonna get? Everything that comes along with what you want. I wanted that surgery. I did not know all the shit that came along with that motherfucker. I didn't. And it just had me think about what if I couldn't do stand up again? What if I couldn't do my dream again? And I started thinking about retirement. Retirement is death. And I know that's like, yeah, like, God damn, Koffe, you've been doing yoga. Nigga, that's a stretch. Retirement is a form of death, bro. Like a little bit of you dies inside. What'd you say?
It can be. It can be a form. It depends
I
on how
think
you treat it.
or it depends on okay. It depends on how you treat it.
It depends on how you treat it. All right. Here, perfect example. I talked with my old man. My old man's been in his career for what, 40 plus years. And so, it's time for him to retire. So we have conversations all the time. He's like, I want to keep working because in the town where he lives, there's not a whole lot going on. He used to traveling, the country. And so he doesn't want to retire because he's looking through that lens that you just applied. Like, yo, it's like dying, or a piece of you, is dying. So I get it. A lot of people feel that way.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. Real life shit.
It's all good.
I don't have a holotip in here to be on my ass about.
We
Come
got to
on,
get her
dude.
on.
We got to get her on, man. We got to get Tip on. Yeah. No, dude. Man, I don't know what I would do in that predicament. I don't know how you react to it. I don't know how you go from being this to no longer being this. And it's the dream. It's not a job. Again, having a job is different than having a career. The career is what you wanted. Some of you think that's what you want. And when you're doing it at the top level, and then somebody tells you, you can no longer do this. And it's instant. Bam. His shit happened within 48 hours. He had to make that decision in 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's a hard decision to make because your body, his body said, yeah, no, you're done. On to the next thing. I'm terrified. I was terrified last week. Absolutely terrified. Like watching that, I felt so bad for him. I was saddened by that. I'm sad when it happens to anybody, when they're forced to walk away from what they love. We've had a few deaths in hip hop. X, we talked about, and then Black Rob this week. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that.
Younger viewers,
Yeah.
dude. Black Rob I think he was right there around 50.
Yep.
Late 40s, 50, early 50s,
Yeah,
perhaps.
he's 50,
He went in the
51, I think I
hospital.
saw.
Yeah. Went in the hospital, had a stroke, never came off of it, never bounced back. People have multiple strokes. We know people with multiple strokes, right? It's just like some people, they'll have a seizure, like they suffer from seizures, and it's a very scary thing. It's a very serious thing. And then one person can have, for whatever reason, one seizure and never come back out of it. They check out.
Yeah.
I'm not being insensitive with the verbiage, but they're done. They pass away. I've had a friend that happened to, and it
Transition.
was that was probably one of, out of all those homegoing celebrations in our community, as we like to call it, funerals in the black community are called homegoing celebrations. That's what they're called. You know it. That's what they're called. I'm just trying to bridge the gap. Just trying to bridge the gap on knowledge for people.
So for our listeners who've never been to a, as you just said, quote unquote, black funeral, set it up, lay it out. So what's happening? Somebody passes away in the black community, and what happens?
Well, first, what happens, just with every other community, is a series of communication, right? Like the calls got to be made. It's a lot of calls made, right? And then after those calls are made, what's going on in those calls is what? No. I just saw him or just talked to him or thought he was doing okay or what happened or with this, that, and the other. Like it's a whole goddamn thing. And then if you're not doing well financially in the black community, listen, niggas will keep your ass on ice for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks till they find the money to put your ass in the ground. I'm dead serious. I know white people get buried very quickly. Like the white community, like a person that died, and they got that motherfucker in the ground in like 3-4 days. They ain't waiting on auntie Janet from California to find her some money to get her ass out here or drive out here. They putting your ass in the ground. Black folk, man, dog, your ass might be on ice and shit. Easily a week and a half. Week and a half. Easy. It's taking black folks 7 days minimum to get your ass in the ground. That's what we at. That's what we at. Flat out on the real. Unless you know, first of all, funerals are expensive. That's why they have they got specific insurance for that. For like being able to handle the things, the passing. It's expensive to try to come up with that goddamn money to put your ass in the fucking ground. You know what I mean? Caskets aren't cheap. Some people get that pine box. That's why some motherfuckers cremate. Sometimes people have, you know what's funny? Like you have like death wishes, you're supposed to respect the person's wishes after they passed on. Like I want to be buried this, that, yo, man. A lot of people ain't getting them wishes fulfilled, son. I know a lot of people that got cremated, dog, and you know, they wanted a casket. And the family was like, fuck you and that wish. Nigga, you don't even know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Unless you believe in ghosts and spirits, this person can come back and haunt your ass, but not bury them in that goddamn gold casket or that like Maserati Rick. Remember Maserati Rick from Detroit? From the
Yeah.
Boogaloo Brothers, the game?
Yeah. Yo, I was just watching another documentary. What was that shit called? White Boy. I think it's on the next Netflix or HBO Max, and they reference Maserati Rick in that shit.
Yeah, Maserati Rick. From the age of what, 16 to 19, he was making $3 million a week.
Some shit like that. That shit was nuts. They buried him in a Mercedes.
They buried him in a
Mercedes casket
with working headlights. The headlights on the casket worked,
and it had like wipers on them.
Yeah, it had the wipers on it because this was like 88, 89 when Mercedes used to have the windshield wipers on the
on the headlights. So y'all they buried this man in a custom Mercedes casket.
In a custom Mercedes casket. Because he would have wanted it that way. When they easily could have been like, let's just have a memorial service. Burn them up, $500. Let's have a memorial, and let's start the grieving process. Right? It's a lot. It's a shit ton. It's a lot of. I don't know. I don't. It's, man, dude. We've gotten so far from what we wanted to talk
about. We talking about decisions. We said we're gonna talk about decisions. We're talking about decisions.
I mean, you have a decision to make. As the person that's still here, it's a tough decision to make. Like you want to honor this person's wishes. Like you want them buried the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to at least give them a send off into the afterlife or whatever's on the other side of life the right way. But they're not consciously around to really know if you did or not. They entrusted. Some people don't even get that choice. In our world that we're growing up in, we don't get that choice. You know, there was a time where, you know, people honestly thought, you know, you live to 70, 80s, and then, you know, it could be around the corner at any minute, right? Like every day is a blessing to wake up. Every day I open my eyes, I was like, holy shit, like I'm 70 and 18 days. Holy shit. Okay, good. Good. Everything's good. All right, I'm taking this. I'm taking this day. Good. Oh shit, this is the 19th day, so I'm 70 and 19 days. Like, like every day is like, all right, cool. And then you know, you may fall ill, and you know you have a will by that time, and therefore, like you know, so on and so on. But like, in all actuality, fuck, man, you really should have a will at any time besides
Right.
your youth. But
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's a certain point where, and it's relatively young in our generation, where you should establish some sort of will, legalized will, and like have that shit set up, because that shit can happen at any time. You know, recently, just this past weekend, this weekend, the oldest living citizen in the United States passed away.
Transition to the next stage. Yeah.
117, no, 114 years old.
Damn.
Black woman.
It's a lot of life.
Dude, listen, when they ran down what she was born in 1905. Dude, she saw World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, um, of course, slavery, civil rights movement. She survived the cocaine years, the crack years. She survived. She survived the early 90s. I'm just like all these events. She was able to see all these events. Like the beginning of what a car looks like when
right.
Henry T. Ford made it to what a fucking car is now. TV. Goddamn. TV. Like technology. She's 114 years. Dude, fuck, man. That's a lot. And
So the
she
question
survived COVID.
again, that's right. That's what I was about to say. So think of
She survived 2020. That's nuts, bro.
And made it to the end, to the
And they
vaccines came out.
like until the vaccines came out. It's like, fuck it, I don't need a vaccine anymore. I'll see you douchebags later.
So think of her decision making over 114 years to navigate through all that shit.
How do you
and
do
still
it?
stand and still stand
And still
114
stand.
years later.
And stand. And they said she was fully conscious, fully aware. You know what I'm saying? Like she was still like she still had all the faculties, facilities, whatever the fuck, you know.
Yeah.
She had all her her mentals was, 114 years of decision making. You made some good goddamn decisions to make it 114. Like I
That's
feel
right.
like he got kind of lucky too, but
oh, you had to.
luck
She lived
is
through.
yeah.
She lived through like what, like 30 fucking events. They could have been tragic and missed all of them.
That could have been tragic. All those bombings, Olympic bombings, World Trade Center. I mean, it's shit I just didn't even list. Look at everything she saw. Black culture, her own people being here in the United States. Look, I would, what everything that she saw and all the changes, and what to her also didn't change, and what was still the same
Right.
in 114 years would have been very interesting to get her point of view on. That's some good decision making, though. Like I don't know, how much, because you got to think too. She outlived a lot of motherfuckers.
Right. A whole lot.
She outlived a shit ton of motherfuckers. You got to think at 114, just about everybody around you is relatively new.
Right. And so think of that.
Even if you have any family around, everybody's
You don't
family
know
is
them.
not huge.
And nobody's hanging out with you at 95.
Nobody's hanging out with you, bro.
From like 90, actually from like 85 to like 114, it's all you.
Yeah. 85 to 114 is, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to have a few grandkids that you're able to know, some people don't, dude, or your friends. People forget people just think because blood is what makes you family. No, blood makes you a relative. Love is what makes you family. Right? Like losing friends, is tough. It's tough losing friends. Um, uh, in the frame of what we're speaking of, to lose a friend, and you and I both have lost friends over the years, and it's something that we'll think about. I know you personally. I'm not putting out your business, but I know you don't do funerals.
No, no,
You don't.
not at all.
You've made a conscious decision. You rather have in your brain the last visual, whatever it is, the last time you saw them, and
Yeah,
not the individual in the box. And
yeah,
you don't give a shit. You don't. That's a boundary for you.
yeah,
I don't. I never. I don't think I ever really asked you why. It's crazy as many philosophical conversations we had and internal
yeah,
conversations about knowing each other.
yeah.
We've had. I've never asked you that, and I won't do it now on
No, let's
air.
talk
But
about it. It's
like,
it's a super simple
okay. I
answer.
mean, oh, I mean, besides the fact of what you told me, I mean, it
Yeah,
might just be simple. You don't want to remember them
yeah,
like that in a
yeah.
box.
So yeah, so I remember as a youth, again, I went to my first two funerals. First was my great grandmother. I think I was maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 ish, something like that. When she passed, and then my grandfather, who I was much more closer to, he passed when I was like 12, right? And so I went to both of those funerals, and seeing, that's when you're a youth, you seeing that shit, and I seen them, in the light when they were alive, and then I'm seeing them in the box. Well, now you get this image of them in the box engraved, and it's like, as I went forward, I'm like this is unnecessary. Like, why would I subject myself to come, because that's what you're supposed to do, is go see the body one more time. It's like, well, I saw the body. I saw when it was moving, the last conversation we had, whatever. So I kind of look at it that way, and that's the way I move. And
I
people feel
mean,
the way
it's.
they feel the way they feel. It is what it is.
I think because of the way I grew up, I feel like when I tell people like if that this conversation has come up with me before, people are astounded by it. But like it's like I feel a sense of obligation. If I had a relationship um with anybody that has passed away, um, relatively a good relationship, uh, I feel a sense of obligation, like to be there in that last moment. Um, I know it's absolutely also changed. Uh, like it's not an emotional thing for me. Like in a sense that like you go to funerals, people cry, or they're grieving. The grief, like I've been desensitized to the specific moment of the funeral. Like it's not like I'm almost like I'm just sitting there, just like dead inside, like fuck, god damn it. Like there's been a few over the past years that have rocked me for sure. Um, but for the most part, it's like, all right, it's just like, all right, here's another one. Yep, it's just another reminder. It's another reminder. It's another reminder. It's another reminder. But that shit does not hit home until you're absolutely facing yourself. And then you realize, like, damn, yo. Like I told you, I know for sure now. And I knew it before, but when you're young, you feel like you're going to live forever. And anybody around our age now, when they would talk like we're talking now, we're like, all right, wait, whatever, fucker. Like, yeah, don't take these days for granted. Like, no, nigga, you cannot take your health for granted. Your health is all you have. It's
That's it.
all you've got. It's the one thing you got. It's the one thing you got that you damn near can't give away. And to a certain degree, you can give away, right? Like, are you an organ donor?
Yeah,
Are you an organ donor?
yeah, currently I am.
So now let's go back to and I can't even remember her name. But this woman died at 114.
Oh yes, I don't think we ever mentioned her
You're
name.
like that's you know how lonely are you? Everybody you know is fresh, and I think I already said that. But yeah, like fuck, dude, I don't know. I don't know.
So then the question becomes: it sounds good. Oh, I want to live as long as I can until you put that shit in perspective, like you said.
Yeah,
At
until you
some
put it
point
in
in time,
perspective.
all your friends are gonna die off.
You know what it's like. You know what it is. It's you don't want to be the first to go, but you
Right?
damn sure don't want to be the last one to leave.
No.
Like you don't want to be the first to go, but you don't want to be the last one to leave. I want to live forever. Do you really? You know what? I said that about somebody as an insult, and I got that insult from that movie 300. Remember in the movie 300? I think it was with Gerard Butler.
Yeah, the
And
Spartans.
the Spartans, and at
Everybody
the
was a Spartan.
end, the the one Spartan who had uh he was he had physical abnormality. He was abnormal physically, excuse me,
Yeah,
physically.
yeah,
And they was like, look, man, like, yeah, you could, I think his name was Nephialtes or whatever his name is, but he like points to him and like it's over. It's the end of the movie. It's over, and he sees him, and he knows he's the one that betrayed the Spartans. He's the one that betrayed him, and he looks at him. He goes, "May you live forever," because at that time it was an honor to die in battle, right? Like Greek mythology, they make that shit. You know, oh, he died an honorable death. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but I guess.
right.
Um, but he tells him, "May you live forever." And I never thought about that until years later, like how prominent that was, like how profound, not prominent, but profound that was that he said, "May you live forever." That's gotta be fucking torture. To live forever? Forever. You have kids, and you're the only one. You're the only one that lives forever. Imagine that. You're the only one that lives forever. You got kids, they're gone. Spouses, done. Like you're in a repetitive cycle of grief. Like that is so I told somebody one day, I was like, it was a woman and she had pissed me off. And I said, man, I hope you live forever. And she didn't even understand. Like she didn't even see it as a diss. She didn't. I don't. Even, I think we were arguing. I was like, oh my god, I hope you live
I hope you live forever.
forever. I think somebody wishing that you live forever is worse than somebody saying, I hope you fucking die. May you live forever? We don't even know how long this planet is gonna continue to like, because we fucking this shit up. How long this
Right.
shit is gonna go?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to see that? And what if you live through the planet like just imploding? Now you're just out in outer space, floating around, fully conscious. Like,
That's the right.
because you're living forever, forever. Oh man, you don't want to live forever, man. What did Andre 3000 say? Forever never seems that long until you're gone.
Right.
Wasn't that what I'm sorry, Miss Jackson? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that was off of I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Forever never seems that long until you're gone. I don't remember the second stance of that bar either, but yeah. He
But
said
that's
that shit.
good. We don't. If you give him the second stance, we may get sued. So listen.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Look, I did some on purpose. And it worked out. I fucked up and it worked out on purpose.
Right.
Skip Bayless is be on he used to be on people about that. Like, oh, don't say any more words, then we got to pay for it.
It's just expensive.
You ever notice that? Skip would interject anytime somebody was having too much fun on the show. Oh man. Proper decisions though. Proper decisions. Decision making choices is what you and I used to say. Shout out to
Yeah.
we got that from Tom.
Yeah. Shout out to Tom.
You've got a cousin. Tell the story. Do you remember? Do you remember the actual? Do you still? I should ask you. Do you still remember the story of when he had first said it and how it just came about? Where he just said a word that's been in our lexicon for years.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the manner in which he used it, like, set off like it became a thing. I remember we found out it was like we had kicked off something that it ended up coming back around to us being used in the way we used it. And we was like, oh shit, like we created a thing. And nobody will never know that it was us. And it wasn't us, it was actually him.
It was actually him with their choices. Yeah. No, I think I went to visit him, and it was one of his homeboys that he was running with. I was like, I guess they weren't. I hadn't seen him, in the time I've been there, and I would always usually see him within the first 24 hours. He would pull up, and so I asked him, like, "Yo, what's up with your man?" He's like, "Oh, yo, he as we talk about decisions, he went and made a couple bad decisions at the time." And I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "It looked like he was on a good path. He had a scholarship or something that was going on." And so I look at my cousin. He's like, "Hey, man, choices." Right. And so that was so simple at that time for him until for me, I grabbed onto that shit. I'm like, oh man. And so then I come back and I hit Koffe and I
Yeah.
tell him the story behind it. And of course, you do your thing that you do where you took it up a whole notch and created this whole thing that we kind of ran with.
And we ran with it. Because of course, I love doing that. I love doing that. Only thing is when we get around new people that don't know me and they hear me do it, but they know you, they kind of look at you like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
What? Like he took that so far.
All right.
But in a good way. The majority of the time, it's always in a good way. But like, dog, that shit was like damn, choices. You're absolutely right. Because on the Howard Stern show, when Howard was interviewing that porn star, and that guy called in, and he's like, would you say you're happy with where you're at in your life right now? Or somebody had asked her that, and then that guy called in and was like, I want to respond to that question. Where you're at in your life right now, and I know we've talked about this before, but where you're at in your life right now, every decision you've made has led you there. So if you're unhappy with your life, you've made a shit ton of bad decisions that have led you there. Or if you're happy with your life, you're making some pretty goddamn good choices. And it's every decision. Every decision counts. You know what I mean? And you know, fuck choices, man. One wrong choice. Sometimes you can make the right choice and it still doesn't work out in your favor. You get the shot that you want, it just didn't fall. You still had to take it. Or maybe there was a better play to be called. Who knows? Choices. You're always going to try to figure out if what would have happened if it would have went the other way. That's another thing. In life, life will call an audible, and then you're like, damn. You're just sitting there wondering. Some days you're just wondering, man, I wonder what would have happened if. In which somebody that's like high in life, like a motivational speaker, they would say that's a wasted thought. Like you're wasting energy on wondering what would have happened if this thing went another way. You should just be focused on the next. The discipline to always be moving forward and looking ahead and never looking back and never looking back. And then at some point in time, you're going to have to look back or you may not get a choice. Like I think sometimes we get wins, you know, like a lot of times you'll hear in sports, like, okay, yeah, we got a good win. It was a good win for us tonight. But we got to move on. Or even the champion, like we're champions. We won the ring. All right, yeah, we're going to celebrate this for a minute. And then it's on to the next year. You were the champion last year. You're not a champion anymore. Like, you got to now do it again. Right? Do it again. Do it again. Be great again. Fuck. It's exhausting, I would think, to always look forward, never really be within the moment. You know, I'm like, I'm heavy about the moment, right? Like, like Dave Chappelle doesn't like, and now it's a lot of a lot of it is business reasons. But when Dave said he doesn't like people using cell phones, he originally said it was because people live on their phone so much. Like, get your face out of that goddamn thing and don't record the moment while it's happening. Enjoy it while it's happening. You're already recording it to look back on it when you can experience it right now and be within the moment right now. And a lot of people don't do that. Like how you and I are kind of like socially famous for creating moments. Remember when there was a period where we were like socialites. Like we had to be there. Like, and it was because people wanted us there. Or they would come and tell us, man, all we were missing was you. And it wouldn't be in like a shitty way, like, oh man, all we was missing was you. No, you're a fucking asshole. We weren't missing you at all. It was a great time even without you. Like, it's like, fuck. If they were there, how much greater would it have been? It would have been even better. We were like increasing the experience with our energy, like, and presence. How often do you really look in the moment? And then some people, they can't get out the rearview mirror. So it's trying to find, as you would say, you would tell me, bro, you got to find that balance, right? Of enjoying it while it's happening, understanding what's happening, and then also, okay, now it's on to the next, or keep forward, be in a moment, be present, but don't ever look back. I love talking and having nostalgic conversations Because that's like when you really get to think, sit back and be like, damn, yo, you know what? Man, that was fucking dope. And you can almost put yourself in that moment again. I love doing that shit. I love having those that I don't know, it feels good to me. I love nostalgic conversation. What about you? Like, do you do a lot of nostalgia conversation? Are you like into collectible? Like, people got like are heavy into memorabilia. Like, are you a memorabilia guy? No, you weren't. You were into cards, right?
Yeah, basketball cards. Hell yeah. Shit, I still got my
I
basketball
I I,
cards.
I think yeah, you were
Yeah, it's like
heavy,
30 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, I got
like
a couple
heavy. Like
thousand.
no, you were like a serious
Yeah.
collector, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Um, I don't think it. I know we used to talk about like, oh man, it'd be dope to have a signed football or get a basketball with this version or a signed shirt, like things like that. I know we would talk about it, and then we kind of got like just grew out of it or whatever. Um, I don't know. For us, I think being present in the moment is great because we love telling those stories. That's what I was originally asking you. Are you big into nostalgic conversation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it gives you a time to uh, kind of disconnect and reconnect to something, as you said, that's familiar. That's always nice. Sometimes you need those things. You need to experience those things, and there's different ways to go about a conversation. Is one. Sometimes you travel back to your hometown or where you grew up, that or where you went to school, or maybe a city where you worked, or somewhere that you feel you experience growth. Um,
Right.
yeah, yeah, just anytime you can reconnect. I love that. You and I talk, we reminisce on music, TV
Oh God
shows,
damn.
comedy, a lot of comedy.
Oh yeah. Funny stories, man. Listen, I think like at this point now, and I think we even did back then. Um, but you and I are always trading documentaries that we see. We're always sending each other documentaries, and the majority of the time, it's of something that happened or a time period or whatever it was. But it was,
Yeah,
you know, we're either just learning about or, um, reliving, a period of time in the past. It happened, but most documentaries about something that had happened, not something that's happened currently, uh, currently to a certain degree, I guess. Um, but like we're heavy into like documentaries, like storytellers. I don't think there is. You can have all the abilities in the world. The ability to tell a story to me, and we're talking about human nature and things one can possess, a skill one can possess, is probably one of the greatest skills you could have. It's life, right? Like great storytellers put you in the moment where you're there. You're there experiencing it as if you've lived it. And if you don't understand that, if you're listening to this and you can't like grasp what I'm saying, you have not met a great storyteller yet. It's one of those things, you know it when you see it, you know it when you hear it. Automatically. Everybody does not have that skill. To the point where it's getting even more rare. Again, back to Greek mythology, when they be sitting there talking about they're gonna write songs about you. Like that was everything at that point. To be able to impact the world or whatever you are into to the point that they would write a song about you for centuries. So like your story would just continue to grow, continue to grow, continue to grow. Man, every if you set up a chart and was able to do the math on the people whose stories or entity has lived over the test of time compared to everybody else, how many people story never gets actually told? Like there is no story. They live a uninteresting life and are just forgotten
Billions.
forever. Right? Like eventually they're forgotten. In a generation or two, they're nothing.
Well,
Not
everybody's
even
forgotten in a short 3 generations, maybe the longest, maybe
yeah,
4 if you go
maybe 4.
114.
So the number is, and that's so you got the you got the individual that's being remembered. What is it? You're you're immortalized in death. Like you can live on. Like those stories can live on. They wrote songs about you. Those stories where your name, your stories, what you did is like it just flows through each generation. And then you got the people that don't. And somewhere in there lies individuals that have the abstract artistic mind enough to be able to tell your story in a grandiose fashion that makes everybody else even more interested. Nothing like a great storyteller. Like old men, old people, like like they'll tell you a story and they'll give you information in the story that has nothing to do with the point of the story. Why are you giving all this filler? Get to the fucking point. All I did was ask you, why do you take the toll road instead of the highway? What are you fucking like? I don't give a shit about Chevy uh changing up their seatbelts and and GM being the first ones to have your shoulder strap. Get to the point. Also, I'm getting ready to give some filler. Nick, do you remember when cars did not have the shoulder strap? And it was
Yeah.
even the driver only had the shit over the hip to keep you in.
Yeah. The waist.
Have you ever driven in a car like that? Let me put it like this. Do you remember driving in a car like
I want to say yeah. When I was like super young.
oh
I
yeah, we were
think
young as fuck.
like youngest. I think somebody in my family has a car from the 70s or the 60s. No, what was it, the 60s, some shit like that. Again, I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
But it seems familiar. Maybe not. I could be fabricating this. I don't know.
Yeah. Because
Not
we
consciously.
got that rule, like every rule or every regulation um starts with what we were talking about earlier and has become the theme of episode 2,
Oh yeah.
death. Every regulation is because somebody went to meet their maker. Every product, you know, when you buy your shoes, they've got that little bag that looks like a little bag of mints, and it says "Do not eat" because some fucker was eating them. So now it's regulated that they gotta have that in there, and it has to say "Do not eat." Right? Like every law on the road is because something fucked up happened, and somebody ended up dead. And so they had to, oh, God damn it. Now we got to regulate these assholes on this, and this, and this, and this, and this reform, and that reform. Yeah.
And so the question we ask is, how many people had to die before this law came into place?
That's a fun game.
All right. So
I
how
know
many
you
people
guys
had to
think we're
die?
crazy. That's a fun game. But how many people had to die before this became a regulation?
Let's play. What you got?
Let's play. Okay, let's play. Let's play. So what rule is a rule that is just a weird rule and or something like, just like out of it's only fun when it's like damn. Okay, stop signs.
Okay, keep it simple.
We'll keep it simple. The stop sign. You roll through a stop sign. You do a rolling stop.
Mm-hmm.
The rolling stop, which is it really makes no sense because the rolling stop is you just slow down to a point. You never fully stopped. So they call it a rolling stop. But there's no point to put the stop on it. You just say they just roll through.
Right.
But the stop sign, motherfuckers had to come up with a sign to tell people to stop because there was one car coming and I was coming and they were going east and I was going south, and hell, I just never thought to, let them go
Right.
before me.
Right.
It never dawned on me that, you know what? I should probably slow down and stop this car and see what this fucking asshole's gonna do. How many people checked out?
Yeah, so let me put it in context. So from the way I'm looking at it. So I was reading Conrad Hilton, who Paris Hilton.
I know that guy.
I think that's like Paris Hilton's grandfather, I think, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so so he was talking about when he grew up, his dad they moved from they came from overseas somewhere. Some Europeans came in, of course. They settled in like Iowa, and then I think they wound up moving to New Mexico or some shit like that. Anyway, in New Mexico, his old man ran a cabin, and he would rent it out to people who were looking to come settle in the West or whatever. And so that was his first introduction into the hotel business. I say all that to say, so because they had this business, his dad brought he was able to buy one of the first cars ever produced, right? And so at that time, there was no rules to the road at all. So his dad actually died because he was flying down the street and flipped the car over on some rocks because he went too fast around the curve. There was no laws.
Damn. That's fucked up.
Right? So how many people had to go through that before the first, like you say, stop sign? So what was the first, what do you think the first traffic signage was?
Ooh, that is a good Google question. What was the first? I would want. Oh, you know what? It had to have been a speed limit. I would go like if we were playing Family Feud. I would go. Steve, I'm gonna say speed limit. Show me speed limit.
Show.
What's your ass say? Speed limit.
Hey, Uncle Steve.
Godfrey does a great. The comedian Godfrey does a great Steve Harvey impersonation. When he went viral off that Steve Harvey impersonation, like a year ago, god damn, that shit was amazing. But yeah, like I would go speed limit. I'm going speed limit. Where are you going? It's got to be speed limit.
I think I agree. Like it's got to be speed limit, and I'm gonna say, I don't know, probably at that time. If you had to go top five, I want to say probably like 500 people had to die before they instituted.
Oh yeah, I go 1,000.
1,000 people died before they instituted.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you got Conrad Hilton's dad was one, right? So we know that one. That's one for sure. It's true. It's one.
Yo, not for nothing. You know what? You know what's funny about what you just did? It's not funny that Conrad passed. But what's funny about what you did is it was it, to some people it probably came off insensitive, but you just broke it down to a sheer fact. Some people's lives are predicated just on sheer fact, right? Their job is it's just the facts. You are a number. A lot of us are just numbers. That's all you're just a frivolous number to something, to somebody. You're nothing without your social security number, right? Like you literally don't exist if you don't have one. You don't have a social security number, you don't exist. You're 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 non-existent. Everything is by the numbers now. So this week, a buddy of mine, him and his fiance are like going to couples counseling and shit, right? And um I guess like they got in this huge argument and it was about like the body count. And she said she had
Oh,
been
you never had that conversation.
you
Oh,
never have that
nah,
conversation.
you don't have that
You
conversation.
just can't do that. You don't do it. You don't do that. Anybody young listening to us, you're young, you're starting out socially and you're dating, do not engage in that body count conversation. It's a trap. It's a legitimate trap. I guarantee it. Every fucking time. Anybody that wants to bring up the body count, you can't trust them.
And that's facts.
You cannot fucking trust them. Like it's going to go left. That situation is going to go left. He goes, well, you said you were only with 7 people. He's like, well, I'm part of that 7. So that's at least 1. And then you got 4 kids, 4 different guys, right? That's 5. One of those kids, you don't even know who the father is.
Oh shit.
So that means it was at least 2 on that kid alone, right? Like the motherfucker started breaking down numerical logistics, like he broke down facts.
He was doing
Like
he was
he
doing
was doing
he was doing pussy inventory.
yeah, he was like what's that profession called? Uh, where
Talking
you deal with facts and figures. What is it? Most of the time they end up being insurance and justice, like archery science. What is it? Like you're heavy into math. Matter of fact, uh, along came Polly, Ruben. Remember along came Polly with Ben Stiller. Ben
yeah.
Stiller and Jennifer Aniston and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Ben Stiller's character, that was his job, was knowing like those statistics, probability and statistics, like actuary science or some shit like that is what
Talking
they
about
call it.
like a statistician.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, something
statistic,
like
but
that.
there's a particular
Specific
name
name
for
for it. Yeah.
it. It's like actuary science or something like that. It's something with an A, I believe. Um, but yeah, like he became that with her sex life. Like, dude, what are and like she set herself up like it was so fucked up like that how he broke it down like in that moment he seemed so insensitive and I couldn't do nothing but laugh But it's true. We know that Conrad Hilton was at least one, and I said 1,000. So it's like 900. And I'm adding on 999 other motherfuckers.
Right.
Right? And it's still niggas dying coming in too hot off corners with the signs up.
With the signs up.
Well, dude, it still doesn't mean anything, right? The yellow line in the road doesn't save you. We know we're not supposed to cross over the yellow line into ongoing traffic. We know this because one, we don't want to fucking die. When we don't want to have to, smack our car, right? Like, but we know that, but that doesn't mean that that car is not crossing that barrier. It's the construct of the sign. It's what's keeping us there. But physically, you can cross that line anytime you want to. The speed limit says 25. That doesn't mean you're going to absolutely do 25 miles an hour on this road, or 30. You're not. Like, you try to. That's like, it goes back to, it's almost like morals and values. You want to have good morals and good values. Or you try to live up to a code. Shout out to my boy Omar from The Wire. A man's got to have a code, which is true. It's very true. Like, you got to have a code you live by or stand by. You got to have something to keep you balanced, I guess you could say. I don't know if balance. Come on now, you got to help me out here. You're a little bit more ahead of the curve.
No, I think that's the word. That's
right. Like,
balance. Balance is the most simplistic word.
It's the most simplistic word, and I'm probably looking for a $10 word.
Yeah.
I'm probably
you're at the dollar store, buddy. You're at the dollar store.
I'm at the dollar. Yeah, I'm definitely at the fucking dollar store. I'm a dollar store guy. You know what frivolous lawsuits are? Frivolous lawsuits is a form of cancel culture.
It is.
I just fused that together just now. It's a form of cancel culture. Frivolous lawsuits that have nothing to do with you. I'm not talking about like that kid that sued Airborne and won like $30 million. Remember that kid?
Yeah.
He was 23. He was going to the Bahamas. He took Airborne.
Yeah, and he got sick.
Because Airborne said it was an immunity booster, and they guaranteed if you took it, you were around somebody sick, that you would not get sick.
Yep.
And then they got sued because he was going to the Bahamas. He got sick on a plane, and somebody was sick next to him with the flu. Totally messed up his trip, and he won $30 million. And they had to pull all the Airborne off the shelf and
repackage and rebrand that shit.
Yeah, reframe everything.
So Airborne was popping before. What's that shit now that everybody takes? The vitamin C shit. Emergency, yeah. Airborne was the shit before what Airborne is what emergency is now.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah. Airborne, yeah, for sure.
Like that was the go-to everybody was going to.
I remember when Airborne got its welcoming party. It was on Oprah's show.
Oh.
When Oprah was doing the giveaways, one of her products that year was Airborne. Yep.
And that shit was out of there.
I actually saw that shit. And that shit blew the fuck up. Everybody was taking the shit.
Oprah should have ate a portion of that 25 mil.
She should have. She was an influencer.
She was an influencer on that shit. And should have hit her ass in that lawsuit.
In which now, if you it's just like the Fire Festival, where people started suing anybody that promoted that shit.
Everybody.
Remember the Kylie Jenner? One of them Jenners got sued.
Yeah.
All those models had a loss. They felt you blew this shit up. You helped me lose money. I'm suing your ass. Cancel culture. You're done, motherfucker. Lawsuit, man. Frivolous lawsuit chases, man.
Yo, have you? As we talk about this shit, have you ever heard about the Cheeseburger Act from McDonald's?
No. What's
No.
that?
I'm gonna let you. We're gonna talk about that shit on the next show. So if you listen to this show, look up the Cheeseburger Act from McDonald's. Read that shit.
Wow.
I'm not giving it to you for free. I'm not making it easy. Go look that shit up.
Remember when McDonald's was getting sued because their coffee was too hot?
I remember.
And it was burning fuckers up and they kept on getting sued.
Yeah.
So then they had to come out. They had to put
The hot.
it was a regulation. You had to have it on the lid.
Yeah.
On the lid of the coffee, it said
Changed the game.
it changed game forever for everybody.
Right.
Contents are hot.
Yep.
Or content is hot. It had to be on the lid. I'm going to buy coffee. Iced coffee didn't become a thing in our generation. Oh, was that late 90s when iced coffee kind of became a thing over here in the States?
Probably.
I don't know about anywhere else in the world. Iced coffee was not a thing in our early use, and I don't think in the past either. I don't believe iced coffee was a thing. And then it became like, another craze. Like, oh my God, I like my coffee cold. Coffee was hot. Every time. You drink, it was a hot drink. I think coffee is as American as apple pie. Could just be me. I'm not saying the rest of the world wasn't drinking coffee, but in our culture, it's got to be still in the top 3 drinks that are being drank every day, or excuse me, that are being consumed every day by like Americans. Now the world, but in this country, a hot cup of coffee in the morning was like, that was it. And it was hot. So you handled it with care. And assholes started blaming other people for not handling hot content with care that they had to put it on the lid.
So how many people had to get scorched before they put too hot on the lid?
Oh man, I know it was at least 3.
So
I know for a fact it was at least 3. It was a lady from Illinois.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a lady from not just Illinois, it was a lady from Chicago. And she won. So that's at least 1. And that's a fact. I think the 90s. It happened it had to happen before that shit got on that lid at least 10 times. Minimum of 10 times.
I'll agree. I thought before I researched that shit, I may have been this lady that you're referencing. The person who got burned, I'm thinking like you, was like, oh fuck, you fumbled some hot coffee. But I learned after reading about that shit, like the woman got like fucking scorched, like 3rd-degree burns. Like the coffee.
Yeah, she had 3rd-degree burns.
Like the coffee was like hot than a motherfucker, like super hot. And somebody had fucked up with the coffee machine. Something had happened with the coffee machine or some shit like that. Yeah. And so she got burned the fuck. They had to cash her ass. I mean, she got burned the fuck up.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It wasn't just that's not a frivolous lawsuit. But you did buy the coffee. I don't want to victim blame. But it's hot coffee. Right? Like you can have an accident.
Right.
But you're gonna blame them for the coffee being hot? Like who? I don't want my coffee lukewarm, right? So I'm gonna come back around in the drive-thru and be like, oh my god, or walk back in like, dude, can you guys give me a fresh cup of hot coffee because this coffee is lukewarm and it's kind of disgusting. Like certain things can't be lukewarm. It's got to be hot or it's got to be cold. You don't want lukewarm shit, right? You don't want lukewarm food. There's a lot of food you really can't eat lukewarm. I think the majority of foods that we consume that room temperature are what? Fruit and like pastries, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like the majority of people, you want like you want it hot or you want it cold. You don't want it in between. Like lukewarm. Lukewarm, I think so what is it? It's cold, then it's lukewarm, then it's warm, and then it's hot.
Dude, wait, dude, what the fuck
Because
are
I
we
feel
talking
like
about?
warm is
What
a
is going
different,
on
like
here?
lukewarm is like cold and warm. Like you got get a little bit of like a chill and warmth like happening. Like it's like you got like a multi-tempered thing going on in your mouth. And then you got like warm, where it's like, it ain't cold. Right?
Dude, what the fuck?
I don't know the origins of lukewarm. I don't understand why it just wouldn't be like hot and cold and warm. What is lukewarm? What are the origins of lukewarm?
Why were you even talking about this?
I have no idea why we're talking about this because I'm fucking tired. I'm exhausted.
Let's bring this home. So listen, at the beginning, I told you, you will see why this man is tired. He does everything that he is not supposed. He can't even keep the show on track. Look at where we are.
I haven't kept the show on track the whole entire show. But I want to. I gotta research this cheeseburger act.
We're gonna talk about that.
I'm going to look up the origins of lukewarm. I want to know how that became. Who was Luke? Who was Luke? And how did he get his name associated with being warm?
What if that was his name? Lukewarm.
What was that? Oh,
that's cold.
Yeah. If his name was lukewarm.
I was out with lukewarm last night. I like that.
I was out with lukewarm last night. And you know what? You at me, right? Okay, and then we're gonna end it. We'll end it like this. Because some people's names, you gotta say the whole name.
Yeah.
You can't just say one name.
Yeah.
You can't say the first and last name. Excuse me, you just can't say the first name. It's gotta be their whole thing. It's not like their name's Sinbad.
Right.
You got to say the whole thing, like that in sports a lot, right? Remember John Salmons?
Oh, I remember John Salmons. I forgot all about John Salmons.
Remember John Salmons? I don't know why. Like you could have said John, or you could have say Salmons, but no, it's like John. You got to say their whole name every time. Lukewarm. Just running around calling somebody by their last name, warm. Hey, warm. Luke. But lukewarm, it just flows. There's probably a guy named Lukewarm, man. And he got associated with temperature. And that's when you know the show is falling off the rails.
It's rough. Listen.
It's only episode 2. We might have to break this up in a two-part episode. Episode 2, 2 parts. Oh God. Oh my man. Jesus.
It's all right, man. Listen, you gotta get some rest. The doctor told you not to drive. Don't drive. Get some of those burdens off of you. All right.
This is this guy's advice.
Get some of those. All right. Hey.
Choices. Shit.
Fuck you want from me?
Oh my God. Ah. Yeah, I gotta make better choices. I gotta make better choices. We all gotta make better choices. Back to it. Choices are calling audibles. Every choice is an audible, guys. Every choice is an audible. It's associated with one. Come out here, and it's like, yo, I got two choices to make. You can start making it. You could start on the road of one choice, and then sometimes be able to back out before it begins and be like, you know what? I'm running this way. I was gonna go this way, but I'm switching it up. I'm calling audible. And audible was the other option you had. Audibles are nothing but options. And when you call an audible, which is basically making a decision, you were on one path and you could have chose to stay the course, but you went with another option. You made a decision. You called that audible, and now you land where you land. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But, a lot of times you should just stay the course and don't call an audible. But then again, you did call an audible because you made a decision to begin with any goddamn way. I'm Koffe Black. I certainly am not high enough off my medication. So I'm going to smoke some weed. This is Mr. Jack Brickhouse.
Yeah.
Jack, end this shit off, please, because I have problems ending shows.
You do, man. You want to continue?
I always have problems ending shows.
So what you guys don't know, so this show is going to end, and then we're going to talk for another 30 minutes or so. It's going to continue because he wants the show to continue. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it rocking and rolling.
Absolutely.
We're going to come back. This is number 2. Slowly but surely we'll get back in the rhythm.
Because we're out of rhythm.
We're out of rhythm. Well, hey, we showed up. All we promised is that we were going to show up. All right.
That's what we did.
Right. We did. Think of it, in the course of a full season and whatever you're watching, let's just say sports, since we talk sports. All right, it's 82 games. Then what? If you can win every game, and let's just talk NBA, you got to win 16 games after you play 82 in a regular season. It's a lot of fucking games to play. All right, so you just start.
You got to win 16 games.
You got to win.
You can play up to 28.
Right.
If you go game 7s.
Right. Every time. And so that happens. Right. So that's
another quarter of a season.
It's a whole nother quarter of a season. Right. So you for 82 games, all right, let's say you're the fucking Lakers and now you got to go play, whatever off city you want to plug into, where it's not really a big deal because the cameras and shit are not there. Like, you're not getting up every night. All right. Mm-hmm. People expect you to. They bought the ticket because you LeBron James and they expect you to put up 32 points or shoot from half court or do something miraculous while they're there. But fuck, you just don't feel like it every day.
You don't feel like it every day, man.
You can't get up when you plan to win the championship, right? Sometimes it's gonna be, all right, I gotta show up and I gotta deliver because you gotta manage the load so you can deliver.
Yeah.
So we got 16 to go. Or no,
yeah.
So we got 14 to go.
We got 14 to go. We got 14.
It's a long way.
14. It's a long way away, man.
It's a long way.
But here's the thing: we want you to hang in there with us.
If you want.
Hang in there with us, man. It's only going to get better.
Hey, so let's address our real audience. The real audience to this shit is going to be somebody who finds this shit 100 years from now and discovers. So that's who we're really talking to.
That's who we're really talking to. Hang in there. Whoever you are that's listening to this 100 years from now, hang the fuck in there, man. Because I'm pretty sure as much it should be a lot of change in 100 years. It's still gonna be some shit that remain the same. I'm Koffe Black. Jack Brickhouse. Calling audible.
I'm on a wave. I'm on a wave. That is okay now.
Blend up in the sky, I won't let a nigga waste your motherfucking time, I won't. That'll be a crime, I don't ever wanna make you think I'ma go for I am. For real on whatever I want, you ain't know that I'm the motherfucking man I am. Scooby never slacking on fronts, like I'm making shit splash, I'ma dash on weight. Got a whole lot of cash in the stash on weight. Got a chick in the whip with the cool on weight. That's game for the team, we don't lose on weight.